Hey everyone, I am so excited about the blue graphite mystery box that Cricut just released. I love blue, it's my favorite color, so I love the blue cutie that's in there. But one of my favorite materials ever is in this box, printable vinyl. I use printable vinyl for so many things. It does require a printer, hence printable. I will talk about printers and different types of printers later on. But I am going to show you how to set up everything for Print Then Cut. And we are going to make a sheet of thank you stickers today. I love a good thank you sticker. Actually, I love a good envelope seal sticker. And I did recently make a bunch of thank you cards. And I want to give them a nice envelope seal too. So I am going to make those today. So I usually make them about 2 inches depending on the size of the envelopes, but these were slightly smaller envelopes, so I'm going to do them at 1.5 today. So what I'm going to do first is select a shape, just a circle, and I'm going to make it 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to change it to white. Okay, now I've already gone through images and picked my design and bookmarked it, but I will show you guys. Go to images, advanced search, that gives us a much broader area to work with, and I'll type in thank you. And you can scroll through images. I was looking for something a little bit more colorful, but also I don't want to have to use contour and add the color myself and do all the work. Actually, I had picked an image, but these are really cute too, so I'm going to add that to my canvas. Those are already set up for Print Then Cut, but I'm going to scroll through and see if I can find the thank you that I had. Here we go, right here. So impromptu, we are going to make 2 different ones now. This is just really cute. I couldn't pass it up. So go back to our canvas, and this is very large, so I'm just going to size it down, nothing particular yet. These are already set for Print Then Cut, so I'm just going to resize them to 1.5. They're at 1.6, but I do want to stick to that 1.5. And then I'm going to set these aside because we don't need to do anything else with it. It's already set to Print Then Cut. But for this one, we do need to work a little bit with it. Now, I don't want it to be the full 1.5 inches, so I'm going to put it at 1.4 and see how I feel about that in the circle. Now, what we'll do is we'll select both. We'll go to align and center. Center perfectly aligns it horizontally and vertically. Now you have 2 things you can do here. You can zoom in, or you can just make the image bigger and resize it when you're done. Typically I resize it and just make it smaller when I'm done. I think I just said bigger, but I meant smaller. I want the text to be black, so I'm going to change that. Everything else I'm good with, but I like the black. I think it pops more. And then what I'm going to show you quickly, you're going to flatten. Flatten is for Print Then Cut, but there's 2 ways that flatten works. Well, really there's only one way flatten works, but you have to flatten to a solid shape. So what we're going to do here is go up to this little blank square between your 0 and 0 coordinates, and we're going to turn on the grid lines. I don't usually work with the grid lines on. I don't prefer that, but I will turn them on for the purpose of this. This is a great way to also check your image if you uploaded it, or if you just pulled one in from Design Space and you're not sure how it's put together. If you don't design it yourself, it is tricky to see how it's put together. So what we're going to do is take this and put it side by side with our circle. Do you see here? All of these grid lines are here. So what happens is all of that's going to cut out. We don't want all of that to cut out. We just want a circle. Hence why we made this. Now if we look at our circle here, we can see no grid lines. So that means it's not going to cut out anywhere except for around this circle. So if you put this image in and you're like, oh, it's already a circle, like no big deal. You don't want to just print it like that. You have to flatten it to a solid shape. Now, a lot of people will say, do an offset. You don't need to do an offset all the time. That's not how it works. Just add a solid shape. So if you're making a square or a rectangle, or in our case, a circle, just a circle. If I went to offset this, we can see at the 1/4 inch, you can see, I'll apply it just so we can see how all of that is there. It's going to cut like that. It's not going to cut us a circle. It's going to cut all around that. So I do not recommend the offset option unless you want it to take on this shape. And if you do the offset option, make sure you contour and remove all those pieces. You can just click hide contour, but all those pieces that were in there, we're going to cut out too. So if you do use the offset option, remember that. Okay, so now I'm going to select both of these. Just click your mouse, drag and draw around to select both, align, center. We will flatten and we'll change it back to 1.5 inches. Now you're going to notice that that black line around our circle went away. That's a cut line. You are not going to see that because you are doing print then cut. It already knows where to cut. That cut line is going to go away. I'm going to turn my grid lines back off and I'm going to say thank you seals. Actually I'm going to add in envelope seals because sometimes I'll just search my projects for envelope. Alright, so now that we have that all done, I have my Joy Extra set. That's what I'm using. It is by far my favorite machine for print and cut because it's so quick and easy to do a quick print and cut project. So we're going to click make. I am doing this on a mat. It's not going to ask us because it's printable, so it knows that we have to put it on a mat. And then I'm going to apply my project copies up here. So I'm going to do 10, which will not only do 10 of this one, but it's going to do 10 of this one. It's going to do 10 of each. So please keep that in mind. I'm going to click apply and it looks like I can fit a few more on here. So I'm going to push 12, which is actually going to give me 4 more. And it didn't fit them, but if we see this red line here, that is our cuttable area. So we can move these from here to the other mat and move stuff around to fit it. So I'm going to select it all and then I bring it down to the bottom here because that's the empty space I have on my other mat. It makes it so much easier when we transfer it over to the other mat to move stuff around and work with it because nothing's overlapped. It's already gonna show up in that empty space. So I like to move it on this mat before I transfer it to the other mat. So to transfer it to the other mat, we're going to click this 3 dots here in the upper left and click move object. We're going to click this mat and confirm, and it's going to move those over here. Now it looks like we're good, but don't forget that white circle there we're not going to see. So we can zoom in down here, oops, and make sure that we've got everything and see if I try to put it outside of the cut line, it's going to snap it back for me. So I'm actually going to move these down here and see if I can get them. No, actually we're going to go back. I'm going to do 11 of each and see if that fills it up for me or if it's still going to do. Alright, we're just going to stick with 10 and make it easier, but I did show you how to move everything around and zoom in and out if you need to. But I can't see the lines and I'm not trying to cut into stickers. So we're going to click continue. I have 2 Joy Extras and my daughter has 1, so it's going to scan and then I need to select which one I'm using today. And I'm using this one. And then we are going to send to printer. Now it's going to tell you here how your cut sensors are and you have this line. You can click don't show this again, which I am going to click because I already know how to do all this and I don't want it to pop up every time. So click next and then it is white or light colored material is recommended for print then cut. I have several printers, so I'm going to pick the one that I need and I'm going to click system dialog. We are leaving the bleed on. That is very important because it's going to add just a smidge of a ring around your design and I'll show you guys that. It should work for this sticker. This one has white so you're not going to see it, but it adds just a bit of a rim around it so that when it cuts it doesn't leave any white. So that's very important to leave the bleed on if you are cutting. If you're not cutting you can turn it off, but if you're cutting always leave the bleed on. And then use system dialog and print. So use system dialog brings up the settings for my printer. So I can go into my actual Epson settings and click preferences and I'm going to change it to high quality. This is huge because it changes the quality of your print. And I'm going to click print. While that's printing, I'm going to quickly talk about printers. Now, your print should look like this, 4 sensor marks, directional. You can read through all of this and it's going to show you how to just place it on your mat. So you guys can read through all that for print and cut. And then I'm going to use printable vinyl. Okay, let's see. I only have the old printable vinyl, not the new one. So we're going to click the new one and click done. While that's printing, I'm just going to talk to you guys about printers. Now, any inkjet printer will work. I highly, highly recommend a rear feed because it is capable of those thicker materials. So if you have like Cricut sticker papers a little bit thicker, my daughter personally loves that, and it goes through our rear feed printer without an issue. I will swear by an Epson Eco Tank all day. I have my Eco Tank, I've had mine for a little over 6 years, and I've only changed the ink 3 times. Well, refilled it. And the last time was about 6 months ago, and I really only topped off, or I refilled the black because I was printing a ton of black, not really a lot of stuff with color. So the black had worn out faster. Epson does recommend, if you're refilling one color, to just refill all colors up to the top and reset all of your ink levels at once. But I've had this printer for 6 years. I've never had an issue with it. It works beautifully. You'll see my color and quality of my prints when I go and grab it from upstairs, and it's just great. And my ink replacement is like $35. So in the past 6 years, I've spent like $100 on ink, which is unheard of with cartridge printers. So I just wanted to give you guys that bit of information. We are going to go over to my camera. We are going to use a green mat, and the Joy and Joy Extra have an auto feed, so there's no buttons on the machine. So I'm going to auto feed and come back and click go, but I'll do that off camera. You guys don't need to see me click the button. You know it's there. And then we'll talk about how print and cut works when we do that. Okay, so I have my print. I want to show you guys up close. My colors are beautiful and I love them. Okay, so we are going to take the cover off our mat and set that aside. This all that information it tells you, this faces up, that arrow. Obviously you can tell which way it goes, but some projects you can't. So what we're gonna do, let me just make sure I'm on camera for you guys. Okay, we're gonna do it this way then. Okay, so that arrow up, and we're gonna line it up in this top right corner here, and then line it up along the edge and carefully put it down, smooth it out. You can use your brayer if you need to. This mat's pretty new and pretty sticky, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, and we are going to open this. Again, auto feed, so just butt it up against the green rollers. It's going to pull it in, it's going to measure, make sure we have what we need. And then when I click go, you're going to see a light come on. Let me see. I want to turn off my light in here, but let me see real quick. There's a light on in here, and that is reading your 4 sensor marks in the 4 corners. That's telling your Cricut where to cut. So it's going to go through, it's going to scan all 4 corners, and then it's going to do the cut. So I'm going to let that go off camera, and we'll come back when it's done. Okay, so their cut is done. I'm going to click unload. And as I do with all of my materials, I'm going to flip my mat over and remove the mat from the material. This is a little stickier, and this new printable vinyl is a lot thinner than the old, so I do go slower and you can kind of see how I'm doing it. I move it around so that nothing curls, and it's completely flat, but I do take a little bit more time because it is much thinner, and you want to take that into account. I always put my mat covers back on right away. I have cats and they love to lay on them if I leave them out, so we do that. Okay, now what I do is I grab my weeding tool. If you've never watched my videos, I use the True Control Knife Weeding Toolkit, and I use this pointy one. It's my favorite. Now it is kind of hard to see some of these cuts because it's all white and we're just cutting around there, but I just pierce this top left corner. If you are left-handed and it's easier for you to peel the top right corner, that's fine too. We're just peeling anywhere that we don't have a design that is going to end up in the trash anyway. And I peel back very slowly. See, these didn't cut all the way through. I have used my Joy Extra for hundreds of cuts now, so I think my blade might be a little dull. So if this happens to you, that's okay. I should have added more pressure. I didn't think about it, but we'll just do that. It is cut all the way through. We're just helping it along a little bit. Okay, and then we can do that around all of these. And then we're just going to pull it up. This I do go slow and careful with. Again, this is a lot thinner than the old stuff, so I am very careful about how slow I go with it because it is thinner. Okay. And we'll go ahead and just work around. And these are going to be so cute on my envelopes. I think my envelopes are like 4.25 by 4.25 by 5.5 size card. So they are smaller envelopes because they are meant for a thank you card size. So that is why I made them smaller. But typically for like a 5 by 7 card, I'll do a 2-inch circle. So you can do that. And if you're unsure of what size to use, just go ahead and cut a couple circles in different sizes in just like cardstock or whatever and put it up against that. All right, so there's a few pieces left on here that I've got to pull off, but I'll do that off camera. But I just wanted to show you guys how to make the stickers. So if you have any questions, let me know.